With just a few ingredients, you can make delicious sweet potato fries right in your air fryer, and they're crunchy. Welcome to the Salt and Pepper, where we cook for real life using real food and we keep it real simple. And today we're gonna make sweet potato fries. I know some of you are probably saying, well, finally you're coming out with a recipe for sweet potato fries. I've only been asked 100,000 times for it, it seems. But guess what? I had trouble making them. They were soggy, they were burnt, they were just not good. And I've tried, 10, 15 times over the past year, and I just never liked them enough. But then I added one ingredient extra and changed everything. And these are absolutely perfect. So first off, let's start with the sweet potato. You want to get a sweet potato that is kind of even, okay? So there's some sweet potatoes that are really like round on one end and then skinny on the other. They're not going to make the best fries. I mean, they'll taste fine, but cutting them is going to be a problem. So what you want to do is find one that doesn't matter how long it is or anything like that, but that it's sort of evenly shaped, doesn't have any weird twists and turns like some of them do. All right, now, next thing is you want to peel your sweet potato. And what I do is I just cut off the ends here. That's optional, you don't have to do that, but I cut them off. And then I just take a peeler and peel the skins off. And you can see that there's two different colors here. There's a darker color and then a lighter color. I like to get all the way down to the darker flesh, okay? So if there's any of the lighter stuff, I just take that off. I don't know if that's absolutely necessary. That's just what I do. All right, there we go. Now I'm gonna get it washed up, just, rinsed under cold water. Then we'll get it seasoned up and into the air fryer. So while I'm doing all that, let's go ahead and preheat the air fryer. So turn your air fryer on. Whatever setting is your hottest setting, you can use for this recipe, okay? So it doesn't matter. You don't have to go to broil like I usually do. You can go to, the air crisp setting at 400 or whatever's your hottest. But because broil is the hottest on this air fryer, I am going to broil. So I'm gonna go to broil, which is 450 degrees for 10 minutes. I have the basket, which I'm gonna air fry in, already in the appliance. And hit start. All right, so after you rinse off your sweet potato, make sure you take a paper towel and just sort of blot it dry a little bit. Now, the one thing that's different between sweet potatoes and regular potatoes, when you're making air fryer fries, you don't have to soak the sweet potatoes, okay? So don't worry about that. We soak white potatoes so we can pull the starch out, and you don't need to do that with the sweet potato. All right, now what I like to do when I'm cutting anything that is round is find a nice flat spot that I feel comfortable with, or make one by just slightly trimming off a little bit there, okay? Just like that. Now we've got a nice sturdy sweet potato. And I'm gonna get yelled at again for holding my knife like that. I don't know why I do that. I do know how to hold a knife, but anyway, old habits, right? I feel like I'm guiding it, but they say that's not the right way. So don't follow me for that one, okay? All right, now what I do is just take my knife and go straight down the middle of the sweet potato. And sweet potatoes are firm, so you need a good knife and you need one that's long enough that's gonna go through the entire sweet potato. So now we cut it in half. Now we've got really good flat surfaces for safety, okay? And then, depending on the size that you want your sweet potato, you're gonna make slices going down this way, okay? And I'm gonna do these at about 1/2 of an inch. That's what I like for my sweet potatoes. You can do them thinner and you decrease your time. You can do them thicker and you increase your time. If you're going thicker, you may wanna consider decreasing the temperature a little bit too so you don't burn the outsides for the time it takes to get the inside done, okay? All right, so we're gonna go about 1/2 of an inch. Now, obviously I'm not measuring. All right, perfect. Now, lay your sweet potato slice down, and then I go right through the middle again. And now I have a nice sweet potato, okay? Which is about 1/2 of an inch, maybe a little bit bigger than that, but these are gonna be perfect for me. And then put them into your bowl. If you have one that's kind of like this, where it's kind of like wobbly, put it down on the flattest side and then just take your knife and cut it, okay? All right, there we go. All right, now that the sweet potato is all cut up and into our bowl, it's time to get it seasoned up. First thing I do is I put on about a tablespoon to a tablespoon and a half of oil. You want them to be lightly coated all the way around, and usually that takes about a tablespoon or so. So do that. And then I have my seasoning blend here. You can season your sweet potato fries any which way you like, or you can leave them unseasoned. I like to use a blend of salt, garlic powder, and onion powder. I think it tastes really, really great. But some people like to add cinnamon or even do a cinnamon sugar for a sweet spice on the sweet potato fries, and those are delicious too. All right, I'm gonna swirl this around, and what I have in here is 1 teaspoon of fine ground sea salt, a half of a teaspoon of garlic powder, and a half of a teaspoon of onion powder. And what I like to do is sprinkle some right on the top, give them a toss around, go back in, sprinkle some more, and just keep doing that so that they're all lightly coated with that seasoning and the oil. All right, that looks good. Now, the next thing I do, and this is where I took my sweet potato fries from good but soft to delicious and crunchy. And that is by adding in some cornstarch, okay? So this is 4 teaspoons, 1 tablespoon, 1 teaspoon. So 4 teaspoons of cornstarch. And I just sprinkle it right over top and do the same thing. Toss them around. You don't have to worry about like getting the cornstarch on every place of every sweet potato. That's not gonna matter. Just where it does land though, you get nice and crunchy, and then the whole sweet potato fry tastes nice and crunchy. All right, as soon as our air fryer is done preheating, we will get these in to air fry. All right, so I'm preheated, and now I'm gonna go to air fry, and the temperature is 375, and the time is 10 minutes. And we can hit start, but let's get the sweet potatoes in there, right? All right, now, this is where people are gonna be like, oh no, I can't cook them all at once. Not really. What happens if you try to cook all of these at once is you're gonna end up steaming them and they don't crisp up. I mean, you can do it. You can do it. Extend your time to 15 minutes and flip every 5 minutes, but they turn out better if you do them in batches. So what I do is about half of the sweet potato and just lay it along the bottom here. Try to keep them as much in a single layer as possible, although a little bit of overlap is okay. And then close the lid. We will go a total of 10 minutes, but I'll flip after 5. And then I'll show you how we do the second batch and get them all warmed up so that they're all ready at the same time for you to serve. All right, so it's telling me to shake, which means toss. If you ignore that, like you're cooking something you don't need to flip or shake or turn, it'll just start the countdown again. But we do want to toss these around now. Oh my gosh, they're looking so good though. But now let's toss them around. We need to go another 5 minutes. And I can see where they're starting to get crispy, and then some of them have like a darker orange color, and that's what I want to expose to the air circulation now. In fact, let me make sure that they're as much in an even layer as I can, because that's just gonna help. There we go, that looks good. All right, another 5 minutes, and then we will take them out, and you want to put them onto a cooling rack while we move on to doing the second batch. Now, the only difference with the second batch is set it for 12 minutes, and I'll tell you why in just a minute. All right, so with 2 minutes left on the clock, we are gonna add in the first batch to the second batch. That's why I had you set the time just a little bit longer if you wanted to get them all nice and crispy and ready at the same time. And now just go another 2 minutes, but we're gonna toss them around in 1 minute, okay? And then we'll be ready to serve them up. You can do this same thing with regular potatoes. So if you're doing a white potato French fry and you air crisp them in batches like you really need to for those as well, then at the end, you can just throw them all back in. So you can prep them ahead of time, let them sit on your cooling rack, and then before you serve them, just throw them back in, okay? For the air fryer, maybe 5 minutes if you're reheating from room temperature. Perfection. They look amazing. Now what I like to do is just sort of spread them out and let them cool just for a minute or so. They're not gonna be cold when you eat them, but that allows them to really set the crunch. I don't know why that is, but they need to cool down just a little bit to really get nice and crunchy. All right, so my favorite are these little ones because they are so good. Oh my gosh. All right, now the bigger ones, they are still good, but the little ones are like, I don't know. I just get a little more crunchy. But listen. Oh my gosh, these are so good. They definitely have a crunch on the outside. Now, are they like a deep fried French fry or a potato chip crunchy? No, they're not. But this is as close as I've come to restaurant quality sweet potato fries in the air fryer. It's that cornstarch. It really makes a world of difference.